Conservation is a critical issue in Africa. The protection of our wildlife and natural resources is essential to the health of our planet. But at what cost does that come? Welcome to the flip side. Governments have tried enacting laws to protect forests, nature reserves, and so on. In Kenya specifically, these conservation efforts are supplemented by the private sector, mainly foreign owners. They own the land, so they have the say. And most foreign landowners cater to foreign tourists when setting up these lodges. However, there are clashes between the private owners and the local inhabitants. Let's look at the land dispute in Tanzania, for example. The Maasai people wanted the East African Court of Justice to stop the Tanzanian government from removing them and their livestock by force from the border of the Serengeti Reserve and the Loliondo Wilderness. This land, they said, belonged to them, but they lost the dispute. This raises the question, how can conservation efforts work together with the community instead of against them?
So indigenous people and local communities are part of conservation efforts because they are the custodian of nature, even before any government efforts was put in place, even before any private sector interventions was put in place.
Sometimes consultation between the government and these communities is not transparent. But what do the indigenous people want?
Give us that money, His Excellency, and we go.
Kati tuli wano ku street abasinga tebanana kufuna wakudda tubona bonyi tubunda era tusuzeewa tulazeewa.
So what must we do to ensure conservation efforts do not harm the indigenous communities?
The governments in many countries should put in place a very, very important policy to protect the rights of indigenous people and local communities. Private sector investors should as well, whenever they want to invest, should prioritize opportunities that can benefit those indigenous people and local communities, including job creation, for example.
The future of conservation in Africa depends on our ability to work with those that call those places home. We must listen to their concern and find ways to support their livelihoods while protecting our wildlife and natural resources. As critical as conservation is, we can't afford to save the planet at the cost of the indigenous and local communities. That has been the flip side.